So let me start off with a question. How many people have one of these, or a variant of it? This is the easy question. All right. So, Apple iPod, since its introduction in late 2001, about 150 million units sold, north of that, and north of $25 billion in revenue. You could call this a killer app, where it really created a category, dominated it, and created a whole ecosystem around it. How many of you have had one of these? One, two, a few. I would imagine in this crowd there'd be more than in most audiences. This is an Iridium satellite phone. Iridium satellite phone. Introduced in late 1998. Cost $5 billion to launch this phone. $5 billion to launch this phone. Less than a year after Iridium released this product, the company went bankrupt. The assets were sold for $25 million. $25 million. It turns out $25 million was less than the cost of decommissioning the satellites. So Iridium basically gave away its assets to get rid of the satellite problem. In my business, in the writing business, we tend to focus on success. You know, we tell you the great stories of the iPods of the world, and there is a lot to learn from success. One of the things we tend not to do is to look at failures. We don't look at the companies that tried to do similar strategies as those that succeeded, but failed. And we don't try to learn the lessons from that. And this is what really motivated our research and is the focus of this talk. You know, what lessons can you learn from the Iridiums of the world? Because I can tell you all the stories I want about iPod, but I can't give you a formula for recreating a product like that. But if I tell you what went wrong with Iridium, and you do the same things, make the same mistakes, I can pretty much assure you that you'll fail as well. Right? And that's why we think that, you know, success is inspirational, but it's disaster, it's failure that's really educational. Because with failure, something happened you didn't expect, and you can single that out. So what my co-author Paul Carroll and I did was we went through and really essentially looked at the flip side of good to great. We looked at the question of those that went from good to gone. We looked at 25 years of failure data, and you can identify, you can define failure in a lot of different ways. We took the easy route, knowing we wouldn't capture all the cases, but there would be no question about the failures. We looked at 25 years of publicly traded company information, looked for very large write-offs, discontinued operations with significant losses, and bankruptcies. That amounted to somewhere over 2,500 cases. We narrowed that down to 750. We did root cause analysis on that 750 and said, you know, what were the causes of failures? And then we dived down deeply into about another 100 to look at the specifics of the patterns there. So what I want to do this morning really is three things. One is I want to give you some insights into our research and the conclusions that we drew. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of data. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we'd be here for a very long time. What I really want to do is get to what I think is the payoff from that research, which is, what do you do about it? Is there a way for you to avoid the same kinds of mistakes that those companies made in the course of your own work? Now, we realize that avoiding mistakes is not necessarily enough for success. But if you can avoid the easy mistakes, the mistakes that other people have made in the past, then you increase your chances of success. And then I want to sort of draw to a close with some discussion about the personal implications of our recommendations for you, your companies, and those that you work with.